Hi, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to go through the process of making a wooden screw. This includes a handle, garter, the nut, and the wooden screw portion itself. I'm going to show all of the components and the manufacturing process. I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking in this video, but I will explain a few things here and there. Most of it is relatively self-explanatory. You just saw me make a handle, or at least the handle end. I've been doing this since 2005 or 2006. This is my fourth lathe, and I have since moved on to another lathe with a lot more power and a little bit more bed length. My apologies here for the video. You can see that my hands are in focus and relatively steady, but the screw blank spinning on the lathe, there are some odd artifacts caused by the camera trying to focus on the corners of a spinning object. They do clear up as the blank gets more cylindrical. I recorded this in 2023 and am just now having this edited. In this video you'll see me wearing a metal ring, which I do not do now. I have a much more powerful lathe. This lathe that is in this video I could stall just by putting my hand on the wood. Later on, when you see the sanding part, you can hear the pitch of the motor changing dramatically with very, very little pressure from some 220 sandpaper. I made this screw blank a little longer than necessary. The customer decided they wanted it a little shorter mid-order, and I already had the blank selected. In just a little bit, you'll see me drilling the hole for the handle on the drill press. I mark everything prior to that. I've got some V-blocks set up to ensure that everything is held 90 degrees to the drill press. I do this before I finish out the hub of the screw, just to make sure that if I have any blowout, I can clean it up a little bit afterwards. This is the external threading jig. It is router based. I've been using this method for a very long time, and it works very well. Most wooden screws that you'll see today have a 60-degree thread pitch. I use a 90-degree, which is a little bit more traditional and works a little bit better with wood grain. A 60 degree is more for metal, which doesn't have grain in the same way that wood does. We're back at the lathe, and I'm doing some basic sanding. Any of the little burrs left over from the threading process get sanded smooth, and then I'll start profiling the hub of the screw. This is for threading the nuts. It's single point threading, but not the way a metal lathe does it. I've built all this equipment over the past 20 years in several different fashions, and this is the one that I found has worked the best. I used to make taps very similar to metal taps, but each time I did that, I ended up going back to the single point threading, which gives me a much cleaner cut. It is much more repetitive and not quite as quick, but I get a better product out of it. My first wooden screws were carved, both the nut and the screw. It's not difficult to do, but it is time consuming. I moved to something that was more repeatable probably about a year after I started doing this, mostly because I wanted to provide a product for sale. As you can see, my editor thought that the process was a little bit repetitive. The nut probably takes longer than anything else to make. It's just a lot of adjusting the cutter until you're at the proper depth and a lot of passes. You want the fit to be relatively loose on a wooden screw. If you make them too tight, they will bind with seasonal humidity changes. You want them to free spin like this as an indicator of the proper fit. My editor was a little confused with what I was doing here. What I'm doing is a dry run for the decorative elements to make sure that all of my tools can get where I need to with the tool rest position. I'm checking the fit of the stock for the garter, which I'm going to turn next. And here I'm parting the blank to length. A couple of basic dimensions for you. The screws are 2¼ inch diameter and approximately 2 threads per inch. All of my equipment was made relatively early on and hand carved, so the dimensions are nominal, not exact. Because I don't use CNC to make these, I have a lot of customization ability and make all of these to each individual customer's specifications. I do offer a standard wooden screw with a plain hub on the website, but if you want something custom or with a little decoration, I always do that as well. And here we are starting to make the garter. This is a little different than most of my garters. Most of them I make square, but this customer had requested a round garter for a leg vise. And here's everything put together. The customer wanted to do the finishing himself, so I shipped this unfinished. Typically they ship with several coats of boiled linseed oil, and the threads are waxed as well. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you found this informative. If you have any questions, either visit the website and send me a message there or leave a comment below. Thanks again, and we will see you on the next video.